That wasn't a Mark clap, I'm just clapping.
Rigjob
and Boonboon,
the hillbilly grip truck.
Hey, howdy, I'm Rigjob. This here's Boonboon, the hillbilly grip truck. I'm gonna ramble on a little bit now about LED lights. Years ago when it was new on the market, I got a couple of those cool light 1x1 panels, and they were actually really, really good for a while. They were better light quality than anything else on the market. Most everything else had a green cast, and these, I don't know, with the minus green magenta on it, turned out pretty good. They got me by. I ended up buying all HMIs and Kinos and whatever to go in the truck, but I was still missing something that was small and portable, and people were like, you know, we're shooting down a hole, and you know, and so I decided to need some LED packages, and I bought and tested out a bunch of different small generic LEDs, and they all suffered from the same just ratty skin tones. I hated them, and until I was playing with the Z96. Now this is nothing new. This is ancient lights, ancient review. You probably already, if you're watching this, you probably already know about these. They're really, really useful. The biggest thing for me is the color rendition in the range of skin tones is good. And there's nothing else. And these are supposedly only 85 CRI, but the truth is they're getting full rendition of the face, which is all I really care about. If the purples look a little blue, it doesn't faze me, because if we're shooting with these, it's mostly because we're trying to get something intimate in a weird place. And if I can get the skin tones looking good, I am happy. And these have been magic for that. You can run them off AA's in a pinch. When I ran out of batteries, I was able to pull some AA's out of the kit. That's also really cool. It's got this weird, goofy, flimsy design where you mount a battery onto this little wedgety door, and it's possible if you put batteries inside and batteries outside, you can set them on fire or something, but in the years I've had these, I've never done that, thankfully. I put a big piece of tape on it and say, like, don't set this on fire, dummy. And so once you pop one of these on, that's a knockoff of the Sony, what is that, F970? Yeah, and these have been good. These came with the lights when I bought it from some eBay seller. Now I got lucky. It appears that what I got was either the genuine F&V lights, or it was a knockoff that was just absolutely spectacular. So I've been real happy with these. The color rendition on all four of mine is almost exactly the same. They all are working fine. Now, a bunch of other people I know have bought Z96s, bought them off eBay and Alibaba and whatever, and they've had random results. Sometimes part of them go green, or half of them stop working, or the whole thing just stops working, or they flash even when you got good batteries on them. It's just been weird, random results. Mine have been bulletproof. Makes me afraid. I was thinking, well, from now on, I'm only going to buy directly from F&V. Now, I've been looking real hard at the F&V Ultra colors, because in theory, it's got a full 95 CRI across the entire color spectrum. That's real exciting to me. And they're bigger lights. They talk to each other, which I don't care if the lights talk to each other or not. I'm not really into talking lights, but if they can talk to each other and all set their color temperatures the same or whatever. But yeah. But the big thing is they're a bigger light, take the same batteries, and it'd be nice to have like just a bit more options for punch with a slightly bigger fixture. So I've been looking at those hard. Unfortunately, these were the old eBay models, which I paid nothing for. I paid like 69 bucks, and they've been awesome. And now if you want to go up to the Z180s, which are, you know, a little bit bigger, I think maybe twice the brightness, yeah, they're like $400 and something. They're real proud of them. And they may be fantastic, and I plan on testing them, and I'm probably going to bite the bullet and buy them anyway, because it's just too handy to have these around. Interesting enough, the throw on these, even without the diffuser, is quite, I don't know, floody. It's a whole bunch of little lights, but the end result ends up being kind of a wash. It's not a distinct pattern at all, so it's kind of more like you get off a Kino, which is good. These almost need the diffuser, because without them you get all the weird individual shadows. The diffuser you put on here is good enough for most stuff. They sell a new milk glass diffuser, which is made of milk or glass or something, I don't know. But apparently it does a better job at smoothing out the light and getting rid of the individual points. I don't really have a problem with that. This diffuser's been good enough. On the few times I've been close enough that it was an issue, I just pick another diffuser off of another one and stick it on there. And also, these are the way you change the color temperature. Is these little magnetic, you slap on a little orange piece of plastic, and now it's supposed to be tungsten. And you know what? This has actually worked really well. I was giggling at it at first, thinking I'd never use it, but it's actually been really handy, and it gets it close enough to tungsten that in a pinch, I've been able to pull it off and add a warm kick to somebody. It's been good. Now, if you're looking for a light to use outdoors, as you can see right now, This does somewhere between bugger and all. It's just not that much light at all. Indoors it's reasonably kicky, but you're not gonna fight daylight. You're not even gonna tickle daylight with this. But it's also one of the brighter lights of this size that I've ever used. So it's just that small LEDs just don't have that much grunt. So being a gear hound and geeking around, I don't remember which website I first saw it on. It might have been that Dig Dug Dale guy. He's pretty cool. And he might have talked about him, but somebody talked about these. These are the Rift Light by Kick. Now, there's a whole lot to like about these things. They're just small and cute and tiny, fit it in your pocket. Compared to the Z96, these are actually just shrinky-dinks. They're just nothing. I think all four of these take up the same space as one of these without a battery. Now, you can put a smaller battery on this. This is just the big honker battery. You can put the smaller Sony batteries in it too. But the reason I bought these wasn't because of the size, although that's kind of cool. This has a built-in lithium-ion battery. It's supposed to last for several hours. I haven't stress tested it yet. I don't know. I've just been goofing around with the features. There was the one feature that made me go ahead and buy 4 of these guys, and that feature doesn't work. So that was a bit of a disappointment here. But I'm rambling about it because there's some interesting stuff about these lights, and I wish somebody else had said this kind of stuff first. So the big feature on these is you can control them with your iPhone. That's a crazy feature, but it's actually pretty cool. And I just realized I left my iPhone in the truck, so let me go. Hello, I'm back. So I'm not really an iPhone guy, but my neighbor fixes phones, and he gave me a tub of parts, and I was able to piece together a working iPhone out of the bits he gave me. So what I'll do here is fire that up. In terms of brightness, it's not that different from a Z96. It's, I don't know what I'm about to do here. I'm gonna turn them on and what, shine them at you? Yay! Now you notice it's got a different color pattern. This is all solid, and this one has kind of hues to it. That's because these are full RGB, red, green, blue LEDs, whereas this is just a single daylight color. You want to change color temperature, you put a little plastic thing in front of that. If you want to change color temperature on that, you push a little button. Now that's nothing new or spectacular, because everybody makes multicolored LEDs. And if it was just a dual color, I wouldn't have bought these. But what makes them kind of nifty is it's a full red, green, blue spectrum. So you can get goofy party lights by dialing it up on your iPhone. You probably can't see it. I can bring up a little color palette and wiggle my finger around, and I get the exact color I want. Now again, there's not a whole lot of real functional reasons unless you're shooting an 80s infomercial or something like that. But there's been the times when I've wanted just a little blue kick, or you pulling out your party gels, and this is a real fast, kind of a cute, sexy way to hide a light up behind something on a shelf and make a sexy little glow inside of the bookshelf, or I don't know, there's, as a little hidden light or another option, there's just a whole lot to like about that. In terms of brightness, it's you know, you're not gonna scare a bee away or anything with it, but you can set between the different color settings and blah, blah, blah. I'm not really giving a review on this light as such. The feature that I wanted to work is you can record a sequence of colors. Like you can load a video up and record the lighting from that one pixel and then play it back later. So it can actually play back like the pattern of a candle burning or a fire burning or a television. The problem is that the way it records the light, it does something funky where when it plays it back, it's almost, and I don't know, I have no idea what it's doing. I just know it gets real flickery when you play it back. So if I'm sitting here and I'm just doing very slight, graceful variations, when I play it back, it's like tick, 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 tick. And I don't know, it looks fine when I'm, you know, if you see me here, I don't know if you can see this at all, but if I'm slowly moving around here, you can kind of see how I could easily approximate like a, you know, a TV screen shining on somebody in a dark room. You play it back and it has this like jump and flicker where as it transitions between the colors, it's almost like it takes all the different colors that you went to and just records each one separately and then plays them back in that order, regardless how long you held onto one. So if you gently, you know, sloped across from it, it feels like tick, 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 tick. It's like it quantizes it or something. I don't know that's what it's doing, but that's what it feels like. So it stinks, because that'd be a really cool feature if you could bring up a specific pattern. Now, the other thing that makes this real disappointing is I got 4 of them thinking I could do all kinds of magical stuff. I could send each one a different pattern, which would be more accurate to like a campfire or a TV. They're all sending out different signals. I could do really cool independent controls on each one. And the truth is, once you get 4 talking to the phone, everybody gets stupid, because sometimes one of the lights will just be like, I don't know what I'm doing, and just forget what's going on, and or they'll all stop responding, or they'll all start going into a pattern and you can't stop it, and you hit pause and nothing happens, and you have to quit the app and go back into it. Or sometimes I just can't get one to mount at all over and over again, and I have to like turn all the other ones off. And it's just, there's some finicky bits about this. These were originally packaged and sold, I think, for people to be like sticking their iPhones in this slot on the back and I guess shooting home movies or something. I don't know. They're not really designed as like a pro lighting tool, but they've got some real cool applications that I will definitely be using it on pro lighting sets. Just won't be telling people what I'm using it for. So the Wi-Fi, yeah, it's a bit buggy. And another issue, that this is probably the one that broke my heart right away. Like 10 minutes out of the box, I was turning it on and I pushed the power button, I pulled away, and the paint on the power button was on my finger now, a little power button on my finger. And then it's slowly, every one of these, all the paint on the power button and the Wi-Fi button just scrapes off. So I can give it another week and I'll just have 2 glowy buttons. You have to guess what they mean. That's a bit disappointing. Now, if you turn the phone off, you know, company's over or whatever, you can actually hold down a button and boot it up into color mode, and then you have the option of going, you know, Ringo psychedelic. You just pick the color you want, and that's probably where I'll end up using it. If I need a little splash of something, you can adjust your brightness and hide that behind a bookshelf or whatever. I would not use this as a key light except in an emergency. I haven't done a proper test to see how the color balance looks when you're on the daylight modes. What surprised me is that when we were doing some comparison tests between the Z96, which I love, and these new ones, these are actually a little bit brighter. And I did not expect that, because playing with them, they don't seem that bright. Like you put it right at your face and you go blind, but I don't really stare at my LEDs that much. This has a broader pattern. So this felt brighter somehow, but this was clearly brighter. And the other thing that's real interesting is it appears to me, and this is total speculation, that each one of these little lenses is pointing slightly different directions so that they all concentrate on the exact same point. Because when you shine this at a wall, you get a perfect circle. It's got a weird rainbow penumbra around the outside of the circle, but you're actually shining, you get a perfect circle of light that's hard. Well, reasonably hard. It's as hard as the size. But it means you could use this real effectively as a rim light, a colored rim light, and get that nice glancing hard look. And I'm actually excited about playing with that, because I think that can be, I don't know, something good in your little portable arsenal. So anyway, that's the Rift light by Kick. It was a Kickstarter, and now you can get it B&H for like 148 bucks. I'm real disappointed that the little flickery magic stuff doesn't work. I'm real disappointed that the Wi-Fi, you know, Disco Hujo doesn't work as much as I would like. But overall, I reckon it's still a good purchase, because I will find ways to use that. It's real handy, a little Swiss Army knife LED. The other thing that was crazy is we were shooting in this nasty sodium vapor stuff and just did a test where I had these shining on me, and the color temperature was all wrong because the room looked green and I was lit well, and the guy was struggling backwards and forwards to try and color balance me with his LEDs. And I said, well, hang on, let me try something. So I pointed the camera at the wall and sampled the color on the wall to the lights, and all of a sudden it was perfect. And I was lit according to the nasty, horrible green color in the room, but he was able to color balance it out. And that was actually kind of cool. White balancing your lights was a real interesting sort of a twist that I've never really done, because pretty much, you'll balance between daylight and tungsten, but you know, if you're going into some really nasty environment, I don't normally start pulling out greens to try and, you know, match that. I was trying to overlight the whole thing. The other downside is with the app, when you turn it on, it turns on the camera of your phone and it keeps it on. And so anytime you're trying to control the lights, your camera's on, because it wants you to select the color from the background camera, or wants you to have that option, but you can't turn it off. So it means your battery life on your phone dies off something fierce. So that's not really a feature, because then your battery dies and you can't do the little adjustments. On the other hand, you can, if you're not doing the jiggly wiggly stuff, if you're just changing colors, you can independently pick each one of the lights and change it around. So you can go, I'm gonna make my hair greener or whatever. You can just individually select that. So I don't know, I think I've rambled enough about these lights. No, they're interesting. They're a real cute little toy. The fact that they weigh nothing and the battery is self-contained, and I got 4 of them fitting inside this little case, along with a multi-port USB charger. And if you have a lot of USB supplied stuff, you should look at getting one of these. I don't care what brand you get. This one has like 4 different 2.1 amp outputs and a couple of 1 amp outputs, because if you get the cheapy ones, they just all share like 1 amp across all of them, which means you can charge up high speed 4 iPads or 4 of these lights or 4 whatever you got for these USB batteries, all at full speed at the same time with this one little adapter. So that's another. If you ever deal with USB batteries and stuff, this is just great, instead of all those little dongles hanging around everywhere. Anyway, so that was me rambling on and on and on. Hopefully you found something interesting in the middle of my rambling. If there's a super awesome, sharp, powerful light that's better than that, please let me know. Ideally, I'm making more videos where I'm babbling about stuff so you don't make the same mistakes I did. If you want to read about me rambling about stuff, I got a website at hillbillygriptruck.com with me, Rigjob, and Boonboon, the Hillbilly Grip Truck. Thank you.
Rigjob
and Boonboon.
the Hillbilly Grip Truck. Yeah.